So did this grab this from you? It's interesting.
I'm going to start with we're going to leave the...
Okay, so I should not hit the camera thing until...
Not until I cue you.
Until you cue me. Okay, I will...
I'll switch it to you.
I will keep my fingers away from those buttons until you cue me.
I'll start with the rotating first alert graphic.
Okay.
When I cut it to you, you have full control.
Okay. As soon as I see myself, go. Okay, got it.
Rotate this and then I'll start the countdown here in a second. Rich, coming to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott here with the King 5 Plus forecast, and well, it lived up to the forecast over the weekend. It was a hot one. We had really record-breaking temperatures in a couple places, and it just, having the warm temperatures so early in the season, it probably felt hotter than it will when we get a little bit farther into the season, as a matter of fact. We checked the almanac out at SeaTac. You can see they hit 90 degrees. That actually broke their old record of 87 set way back in 1948 and again in 2015. So definitely, we weren't expecting it to be quite that warm, but definitely made that, and you definitely felt that around the area yesterday. Checking Olympia, they hit 91, not quite at their record, which is 94 from 1948. That must have been a hot year back then. Bellingham, much lower records up there, thanks to being in farther north and near the water. They hit 82 degrees. That tied their record set back in 1955 of 82 degrees. Take a look out mid-morning today. You can see it's not a bad-looking morning out there, looking out across the strait. The pictures from our tower cams overall look like it was going to be a hot day, and it is going to be a hotter day. Again, it's going to be a hot day today, not as hot as it was yesterday. We're going to cool off about 3 to 5 degrees most spots, but it doesn't look like you're going to really feel that, because it's still going to push the temperatures in a lot of places well into the 80s, and we might even touch 90 degrees in some of the warmer spots down in the South Sound. Place to go to cool off out there at Westport. They're going to be seeing the sun like we're seeing right now on the tower cam, and those high temperatures are only getting into the upper 50s to right near 60 degrees, but with lots and lots of sunshine. Checking the low temperatures early this morning. This is one of the other reasons that this was kind of a tough heat wave, is the fact those temperatures did not cool off very quickly overnight last night. In fact, we still had quite a few places that were in the 70-degree range after midnight, and these are the lows. You can see for the main heat island cities, Seattle, Everett, Tacoma, over towards Bremerton, they didn't get out of the 60s, so really hard to cool the house off when those temperatures stay mostly in the 70s and then only spend a few hours down in the low 60s. Take a look at the current temperatures at mid-morning. You can see heating up quickly again today. Those temperatures pushing up very rapidly in the South Sound and out there south and east of I-5 out towards places like Puyallup, already into the upper 70s, almost 80 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be another hot one, especially in those areas. Take a look at our first alert 7-day forecast. You can see that cooling continues. We cool a little bit more tomorrow, becomes a little bit more livable, and then as we head towards mid to late week, we get back into our more normal pattern, which will have a few morning clouds and then sunshine, and those high temperatures will drop back to the upper 60s and low 70s, which are going to feel pretty good after this little shot of hot weather. So first alert weather day today on through 10 o'clock tonight, which is just basically a hot day. It's going to still be 10 to 15 degrees above normal in a lot of places. We still have the cold water risk out there, people trying to cool off in the rivers or sound and having cold water shock. So be very careful around those bodies of water. And it applies pretty much to all the lowlands, except as you get up near the water further north of Everett, you're going to be looking for those temperatures to be really moderated today because of the cooling of the water. Take a look at the Weather Service advisories. They have a heat advisory out until 10 o'clock tonight, basically for what I was just talking about, the lowlands of western Washington. You can see once you get up there at Everett and onto the north, if you're right on the shoreline or on Whidbey Island, those temperatures are cool enough that you're not under the heat advisory, and the same actually applies to Bellingham. East of the Cascades, it is cooking over there. A heat advisory out for a good portion of eastern Washington, and they're expecting triple digits over there today, and still, even though they're going to cool a few degrees tomorrow, still a hot day tomorrow with temperatures into the mid-90s. And There is a fire weather warning out for the areas around Chelan, Wenatchee, and Ellensburg, same as a red flag warning because of the high temperatures and the low humidities. It's very easy for fires that start to grow and spread very, very rapidly. So be really careful over there in eastern Washington. Take a look at the Weather Service heat risk forecast for today for around Puget Sound. The yellow is the moderate, is in the low range. The orange is the moderate range, and you can see as we head towards tomorrow, it drops down to the low range everywhere in western Washington, though still in the moderate range in eastern Washington. But as we head towards midweek, pretty much drop back to just the minor heat impacts associated with that. We take a look at the Weather Service definitions. You can see moderate, which is what we're looking at for today around a lot of Puget Sound. It really is a risk for outdoor workers and people who are really sensitive to hot weather. And then minor, which is where we'll be after today. It's basically people who are just very sensitive to heat are the only ones affected by that. So we'll be back to much more normal weather as we head towards mid to late in the week. Take a look at the satellite image. You can see we did see a little bit of marine air kind of sneak in along the Columbia, parts of some of the south coast. That's burning off right now, but we'll see more of that work inland as we head towards tomorrow. It looks like we'll see that gradually spread inland into the South Sound as we head towards midweek, and that's going to really bring our ocean air conditioning back into Puget Sound, cool us back to those normal temperatures right around 70 degrees. Checking the computer model, you can see the winds are basically out of the north-northwest, so not really pushing inland very much with that cool ocean air. As we go through the day today, we start to see them turn more onshore, and then as we head towards overnight tonight into tomorrow, they really do start to push in. That is going to bring that cooler air in through the strait and through the Chehalis Gap down there to the south and give us much cooler temperatures, especially as we hit tomorrow on into Wednesday. Take a look at our high temperatures today around the state. You can see up there in the northern counties and Whatcom and Skagit counties. Near the water, it's a pretty nice day. Low to mid 70s there around Anacortes, Bellingham, Orcas Island. Moving inland, it definitely heats up quickly with 85 there in Cedar Woolley. And the 83 in Lake Kavanaugh, even there in Skagit County up in Marble Mount, getting up to near 90 degrees, and Diablo Lake expecting 89 degrees. So once you get away from that cold water that's out there, it really does heat up quickly. Dropping southward into Snohomish County, you're seeing the same setup with 70s near the water and then into the low to mid 80s as you move farther inland towards the Cascades. Around King County, you can see heating up. You get up around Maple Valley, Issaquah into the upper 80s, and then down towards Enumclaw, Auburn area in the upper 80s. And could see some 90-degree readings out there as well. Near Puget Sound itself, most places will be in the low to mid 80s today, except you get up a little farther to the north there in Kingston, there'll be a degree short of the 80s. They'll be hitting 79 degrees this afternoon. Down in Pierce and Lewis counties, we're going to be looking for a hot afternoon once again. Temperatures in the mid 80s to near 90 degrees. Puyallup looks like our best bet for seeing 90 there at Puyallup and Yelm. So that, and as you go farther inland, it's just going to be another really hot day down there in that part of the state. Further down south, right along the Oregon border, we're looking for those temperatures down that I-5 corridor to be in the upper 80s and low 90s. Looking for mostly low to mid 70s as you move out towards the coast. And then that ocean air that we could see on the satellite image is actually going to keep those areas cool. They'll have the sunshine, but high temperatures will only peak out in the upper 50s to right near 60 degrees. We see that on the central and north coast as well, but once again, as soon as you move inland a little bit, those temperatures go up. But at least on the Olympic Peninsula, they're going to stay mostly in the 70s during the day today. Checking east of the Cascades, as we said, it is really cooking over there. Expecting 102 degrees today in Wenatchee, 99 in Ellensburg with some gusty hot winds this afternoon, 103 degrees in Yakima. Tri-Cities, as it often does, peaking out as probably the hottest spot around the state, hitting 105 degrees. Take a look at Hurricane Ridge. Beautiful day up in the mountains. If you have time, get off work early this afternoon, you can go for a hike. The good news is that sunset around 9:05 tonight officially in Seattle, so you'll be able to stay on the trail fairly late today and get in a late day hike. And see a lot of people already in the process of doing that up there at Paradise on Mount Rainier. We've got a beautiful day going on and a lot of cars in the parking lot for sure. Hiking forecast though looks pretty good. Sunshine, temperatures between 3,000 and 4,000 feet, roughly Snoqualmie to Stevens Pass. We're going to be looking for those highs this afternoon, getting into the low 80s and staying into the low to mid 60s all the way through midnight tonight. So definitely nice hiking weather if you have a headlamp and out that late. tonight. And tomorrow, really not a big change. We're going to be looking for it to cool a few degrees. Temperatures up in the Cascades probably dropping back into the mid-70s if you're heading up to the mountains. It's really almost perfect hiking weather up there. Checking those forecasts, high temperatures generally around western Washington one more time. You can see basically from Seattle southward, we're going to be in the low to mid 80s, upper 80s as you get down there south and east of the I-5 corridor, and then those temperatures really heating up as you head over there towards eastern Washington. As we head towards tomorrow, we'll see things start to improve a bit with 70s to low 80s. First alert weather mode ends at 10 o'clock tonight. And then as we head towards later in the week, it's going to be a matter of seeing probably some patchy morning clouds, otherwise sunshine. Those high temperatures cooling back to where they should be this time of the year in the upper 60s and low 70s. And if we take a look at the 6 to 10 day forecast for temperatures, you can see we stay in a pretty mild pattern, it looks like, all the way through the middle part of the month, with those high temperatures staying mostly in the low to mid 70s and not really heating up again, at least not in the short term. Though it actually does look like we could see a little bit of rain around the 17th or 18th, though June only gets about 1.45 inches on average every year, so not expecting too much out of that. But any rain would be a good idea right now, because this heat comes about at the same time they put out a drought update, and my colleague Leah Pizzetti has got the latest on what the current drought conditions are and what to expect for the rest of the summer.
The sunshine over our area tonight is a welcome sight for a lot of people, but it's another hit for the worsening drought status in western Washington.
Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti with our Environment Northwest team walks us through the latest report just out today.
It was already bad, and this update confirms that it's worsening. Take a look at this. This was the drought report released by the state in April, and this is the newest one released today. You can see a good portion of the state is now orange. All of those areas are now under a drought declaration. It's not even summer yet, and western Washington is already feeling the burn.
We had a slim chance for spring weather to bring more rain. Unfortunately, we didn't get what we needed. So here we are.
The State Department of Ecology is now increasing the drought advisory to a drought declaration. Parts of nearly half of the counties across the state are under the new emergency order, including Pierce, King, Snohomish, Skagit, and Whatcom.
We've declared drought in 6 of the past 10 years. Low water supplies are becoming routine in Washington, and that includes on the wetter west side of our state.
Scientists say above average temperatures are melting the snowpack about a month earlier than normal.
We're seeing only 21% of normal snowpack in the eastern side of the Central Cascades and 12% of normal for the western side.
Climatologists say this is bad news heading into wildfire season.
The likelihood of fire spread is a bit higher with the dry conditions we've seen.
They all agree this is unfortunately the new normal in the Pacific Northwest.
Conditions this year are what we can expect nearly every other year from now on.
The biggest thing this declaration is going to do is open up more funds and resources for county and city leaders to be able to plan ahead and prepare for a potential lack of water by the end of summer. For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
All right, we need to find ways to cool off in these temperatures, don't we? I've got a pretty ingenious way of making a portable air conditioner for less than $15. It may just be one trip to the store, too. Check this out. You really only need 3 things. Find a cooler, maybe it's a styrofoam cooler just laying around. I found this compostable one for $10, which was a good find. You need 2 dryer vents. I got these at a hardware store for $2 a piece. And you'll need a small fan. Use one that you already have, or if you can find one, they're not that expensive. Now grab your cooler and trace a line to cut a hole for a dryer vent on the side. Remember to always slice away from your body, and once you've got that hole cut, fit a dryer vent inside. Now do the same thing for the other side of the cooler. Next up is the fan. Time to cut a hole for that on top. And you want to make sure that you're cutting this hole for the fan just a little bit smaller than the actual size of the fan itself so that it doesn't fall through into the cooler. Now before you put on the lid and the fan, you've got to make the inside of the cooler cold, right? I just grabbed whatever ice pack I could find, stuff it inside your cooler. You could even use frozen food, make sure that doesn't go to waste. You've got to make it cold. Now, time to put on the fan. the air should flow out of the dryer vents. It's actually really cold, and it can get colder depending on how much ice or ice packs you put in your cooler. Obviously, the fan will work for some breeze, but when you need to cool down with these really hot temperatures, you might want to try this. Jake Wittenberg, King 5 News.
Washington State Park says the number of registered voters has gone up every year, really spiked over the pandemic and has stayed up since then. But it's not just boaters. Paddle sports have gotten tremendously popular, and this weekend they'll be on display. The clouds have officially parted.
Did you ever think about living on a houseboat?
The Emerald City is thawing out.
I mean, it is the most glorious place in the summers, having lived in multiple places. You know, and a day like this makes it seem worth it. Now ask us in January, but today it seems worth it.
Temperatures flirting with the 90s this weekend means a yearly rush to the water. People like me dragging the inflatable stand-up paddleboard out of storage and doing my best to pump it up.
We're almost there.
But before you go take a swim, a reminder of what you're getting yourself into.
If you're out on a kayak, a paddleboard, a canoe, you're a boater too, and you're responsible for knowing and following, boating safety laws as those apply to you as well.
Did you know that a whistle and a life jacket are required on board a paddleboard? Both could come in handy should you go overboard. Keep in mind, the water will be some 30 degrees cooler.
And yes, it takes your breath away that first moment, and it's refreshing, but it's sort of a jolt.
But you wouldn't want to be far away from needing to swim in, for example, even me. And I'm used to the water. I'm comfortable in the water.
While they watch comfortably from shore, I decided to find out for myself. It's time to earn my paycheck, show you how people get into trouble. It's situations like this. It's hot out. I've worked up a sweat. Time to cool off. Okay, so it's like 70 degrees out. You'd think it wouldn't be that cold. It is freezing. I'm not doing that again, Perry. Uncomfortable at best, dangerous at its worst. According to Washington State Parks, half of the state's water fatalities involve some form of paddle sport. Info that's not intended to discourage you from hitting the water, just to serve as a reminder, a reality check.
It is really the most beautiful place in the world when the sun comes out.
And Joyce, I know you're going to ask, but I did dry off and warm up. I will say, though, I'm embarrassed to say I did not know that a whistle was mandatory on a paddleboard. So is that life jacket. They must be worn if the child is 12 or under. Joyce, back to you.
I didn't know both of those things were true. So great information, and I'm glad that you're warm and dry. Thanks, Sebastian.